That's amazing. But, I think about artificial intelligence, right? This word feels a bit redundant
Right.
because it's used and thrown around a lot.
Of course,
And
yes.
what is it? I mean, because like for me, I understand being in architecture, there was always software and programming, and there was designing. As you said, there was the BMI solutions that always existed. We had like programming softwares, we had designing softwares, but in our terminologies, it would be Revit and ArchiCAD and all those things. But
Right.
now, all of a sudden, like overnight, you hear this word artificial intelligence, and
Yeah.
people think it's chat GPT. They think it's like, these things you've got on your smartphone. What is artificial intelligence? How would you classify it? And what is like it's really all about? Because it's just something that popped overnight, and you hear it everywhere, especially on social media as well.
So, Marilyn, I lecture at the School of Explorative Architecture, and I actually have just concluded a module in what I called it a second mind. And perhaps a good way of looking at artificial intelligence is to consider it as a cognitive capacity enhancer. So an extension of your capability of thinking, right? If you had to ask what it is in a very tangible sense, it is software. Software and algorithms, because software is based on algorithms that are targeted at thinking, perception, and action. So it's software that is intended to mimic how humans think, how humans perceive things, and how humans act. That's a very fundamental level of what it is. And it's not my definition. It's actually from Patrick Winston, who was a professor of artificial intelligence at MIT. And the thing that always hits me is that this information is not so hard to find, right? If you earnestly searched on YouTube for what is it, you will find his lectures coming up. But because there's a flood of information everywhere, it's maybe a bit difficult for everyone to find this. But to me, that is a first principles method to think about artificial intelligence. So it's not meant in its idea to be a thing that does anything for you. It's meant to mimic the way we do things. An analogy I give to the students is in the story of Troy, Achilles, who was Brad Pitt in the movie, right? Achilles had a cousin who was training with him and to enter into combat. And there was a war in which Hector, who was the king, had heard Achilles was coming to this particular war, and he joined it. And then he saw Achilles from a distance and moving towards him, and then he engaged in battle with him. But they were all dressed in their armor and their garments. And when he thought he killed Achilles, he took out of his helmet and he saw it was Achilles' cousin. And then he's like, but he looked like you and he moved like you, but he wasn't you. And that's what artificial intelligence is, because it's supposed to be like us, but it's not us. It's supposed to mimic the mistakes we make. It's supposed to mimic the way we behave. It's supposed to be a model, the closest model that we have to what a human being is, or how a human being thinks, perceives, and acts. It's not very good at acting at the moment because it only has one form of information, language and imagery and video. But to be a human is to do many things and to be many things. And so artificial intelligence is software that mimics us, I would probably say is